In this tutorial, I will show you how to use the Lourdes Library databases to find sources. In your Academic Writer tutorial, you learned about some practical search strategies, including using Boolean operators, exact phrase searching, filtering, and source component searches. Now we'll talk about databases that you should search, how to save and store your sources, and how to use the resources available to you to help build your references. We're going to start in Academic Writer, and I'll show you some of the resources this tool provides for you. Then we'll switch over to the library webpage, and we'll come back to Academic Writer at the end of the tutorial. Your Academic Writer homepage should look similar to this. You've already used the Learn tab when you completed the How to Find Sources tutorial and the Types of Articles quick guide. In this video, we're going to look at the Reference tab. Academic Writer can act as an online storage space. It's a place where you can store your references and source material, and even your papers. And you'll have access to this storage drive even after your subscription to Academic Writer ends. There are certainly many different online drives, storage spaces, and methods through which you can store and organize your materials. This is the one we're providing for you this semester, and I think you'll find it useful in particular ways. But regardless of where and how you store your materials, the most important thing is that you are storing them somewhere. It's really important to have a method for keeping track of your research, and the more organized you are about it, the better off you'll be. This is an important part of the research process, being organized. Keep track of your references. Keep track of the articles you look at. Come up with a good system so that you don't find yourself in the situation of having a memory of looking at a source that you now want, but can no longer track down. Okay, so let's look at the storage options Academic Writer offers you. Under My References, you can keep a record of sources that you've looked at or plan to use in your projects. I added a couple of them here so you can see what it will look like. Notice that it's not storing the actual article, just the APA reference and the abstract. You also have the DOI here so that you can find the text of the article if you need. Additionally, you can add notes to each reference so that you can remind yourself what stood out about the particular source or what project you plan to use it in, etc. So we can click Add Notes, and then it gives us this note window down here. And that attaches the note to the particular reference. If you click this little pencil that says Edit Reference, you can make any changes that you'd like to make to the reference itself. Additionally, if you scroll all the way to the bottom, you'll see your notes here, and then there's an extra category called Quotations. Here, you can add quotations from the source. You can put a summary here. So it's a space where you can start to organize your material, work through your research process, and have detailed notes that are clearly linked to the source itself. Come back up here to the Reference Center, and you'll see that you can also add references here. We have three options. Create. This is if you want to create a reference from scratch. You'll start by selecting the type, the journal article, And then you will add in the author's names, the publication information, the title, the journal article, volume, issue, page numbers, etc. You'll type it all in manually, and then Academic Writer will format an APA reference for you. You also have the option to import a reference, and we'll come back to this option after we look at the library page. This is the one that you'll probably use most often. You can also search for sources through Academic Writer, but it's not really the best option for you, and I'll show you why. If we go to this search, you'll see that we're searching one database, APA PsycInfo. And if I type in just a basic search, we'll do nurse burnout. Here I get a series of results. They're references with abstracts. While this has some usefulness, it's not fully useful because you can't actually access the articles from here. So as you learned in the How to Find Reliable Sources tutorial, academic journal articles are often accessible only with a subscription of some kind. They're not generally available for free online. So if we click on the DOI here, it takes us to a page that says you can either purchase this article, here, purchase PDF, or you can access it through your institution to authenticate your subscription. If we click this, access through your institution, and we type in Lourdes, it's going to tell us that no, we don't have authentication. So this is why we're going to switch over to the Lourdes Library webpage, because you do actually have authentication for PsycInfo and for many other databases through the university. But you'll have to go through the university channels to access that content. So I would recommend just doing all of your searching through the library in the first place. Academic Writer is a great place to store your references, your notes, your quotations, but it's not going to be particularly useful for database searching. So let's switch over to the library. So here's the web address that we're at, libguides.lourdes.edu. So here's the web address that we're at up here at the top, libguides.lourdes.edu. We're going to go over here to the right and choose Go to A to Z list for the databases. Here we have an alphabetical list of all the databases that you can search through our library. I provided a document for you in Module 3 with a link to the library guides, as well as the databases that I recommend you begin with. We'll search all 4 of those databases in this demonstration. So we're going to start with Medline. So we'll go to M, and we have 2 options for Medline and Medline PubMed. We're going to search them both. So we'll start by choosing one. And here it took us to the EBSCOhost search engine that will search the database for us. If you're doing this off campus, you may have a step where you have to sign in with your Lourdes info in between clicking on that database and getting to this page. So if you click that, it should prompt you to sign in. You just sign in with your Lourdes username and password that you use for everything, and then it will take you to this page. So here's where we'll add additional databases. So we'll come up here to the top. We're already searching Medline. We're going to click this Choose Databases button. and it gives us a list of databases. So here we'll add our other three. We're gonna add Medline here. We'll add CINAHL. This is a really important one, the Cumulative Index to Nursing and Allied Health Literature. And then all the way up here at the top, we see APA PsycInfo, which is the one that Academic Writer already searched for us. So come down here at the bottom and click OK. And then you can see up here at the top, it says we're searching Medline with full text. If you click Show All, it will show us all 4 of the databases that we're searching. Okay, so let's do a search. Start with this, vaccination. If we just search this one word, we can see that we came up with 410,000 results. This is what your search results page will look like. You'll have a list of results down the center here. Over on the side, you have ways to limit and refine your results, and we'll talk a little bit more about those in a moment. One trick you can do with searching, if you want to search every variation of the word vaccination, if you want to search vaccine, vaccines, and vaccination, you can use a little asterisk to tell the system, search every possible ending of this word. So notice with our first results, every result had the full word vaccination in it. If we search it this way, now we see vaccine, we see vaccines, we see vaccinations. So it gives us a larger variety of forms of this word, and now we're at 870,000 results, which is too many results. We need to narrow it down by getting more precise, more specific. As you learned in your Academic Writer tutorial, you can use a Boolean search to get more precise results. And we'll give you results that include both terms you type in, eliminating any result that has only one of the terms. Or we'll search for either term that you type in, and not can help you distinguish between the results that you want and those that you don't. So here's a Boolean search that we could do. We can say, we want any form of the word vaccine, but not papillomavirus, so here it will give us any result that has the word vaccine in it, but it eliminates any that are specifically about papillomavirus. We could do this the opposite. We could say, we want the word vaccine, but only when it also has papillomavirus or HPV. Now we've narrowed our results down to 113,000. Other ways that we can limit our searches are by publication date. So for your projects, all of the articles that you choose need to be published within the last 5 years. If they're over 5 years old, they're considered a historic study, and that's not relevant for your current projects. So let's go ahead and put our publication date at 2015 to 2021. And now we've narrowed our results down to 41,000. We can also say that we're only interested in academic journals. We don't want to see dissertations, we don't want to see magazines, academic journal articles only. and then that drops our results a little bit more to 40,000. So as we talked about in the previous video, you will need to sort of experiment with how to get your results down to a reasonable number for you to sort through. Probably we need to be even more specific with our search terms up here. We can't reasonably read through 40,000 abstracts. That's just not doable. So you'll have to think about what is the more specific angle that you want to take on your topic, and then continue adding your search terms to cater the results to what you want. Once you have your results narrowed down to a reasonable number, your next step is to start scrolling and scanning titles. That's your initial scan. Just read the titles and see if anything stands out as seeming relevant to your particular project. If you see one that seems potentially interesting or useful, then click the title. This takes you to a detailed record page with a lot of information. It has the list of authors, the publication information, what journal it's published in, what year it was published. It has an abstract. Sometimes it will even have a full text attached. Basically, this page gives you everything that you need to create a reference. And hopefully enough information for you to determine if this article is useful for your project. You can read through the abstract and say, yes, this relates to my specific topic and the project that I'm working on, or no, let's go back to the results list, which you do by clicking this button here, result list. You'll notice that on the results list, it tells you if the article is readily available to you or if you'll have to request it through interlibrary loan. So here, with this one that we just looked at, there's an HTML full text, there's a PDF full text. With this one, we'd have to request it through interlibrary loan. So that's another thing that you can consider as you're choosing your articles, is their accessibility. So here's another example of the detailed record page. Let's say that you read through this abstract and you decide, yes, this article is relevant, I want to save this reference. So you have a couple of ways that you can save this. First, you can open the PDF full text, download it to your computer, save it in a file. Organize your file somewhere, then you have the full text available to you offline anytime that you want it. I highly recommend that when that's an option for you, that you do download the PDF and save it in some sort of organized file system. You can also come over here to the Cite button, click that. This is a citation generator. Scroll down to APA, and here you have your APA reference. You can copy and paste it into a file if that's how you're keeping track of your references. If, on the other hand, you want to store it in Academic Writer, then you're going to choose this export button. This will export the file for you. So we're going to choose direct export in RIS format. Click save. And then it will ask us what we want to do with it. We want to save the file. So this is going to save the file to the downloads folder on my computer. So then if we want to put it in Academic Writer, we can come over here. And so we're in the, let's go back to the Reference Center. So we're in the Reference Center here. We're going to go Add References, click this button, and then choose Import. So here, select File Origin. It's coming from EBSCOhost. That is the search engine that we're using. And then we can upload that RIS file that we downloaded here. So we'll browse the computer. It's right here. Open, submit. And then we can view it, and here it is. APA citation, abstract included. Again, you can click this to add notes. After you've read the article, you can click the edit reference if you want to add quotations or summaries, etc. Your next two tasks ask you to create a bibliography of 10 articles that speak to your chosen topic. So you're going to use these methods that we've learned for searching the library databases, and you're going to compile a list of 10 articles. You don't need to read all 10 of the articles initially. Instead, you're just reading abstracts, you're determining if they may be relevant or useful to your project, you're pulling citations. You're going to create a document that lists your citations in alphabetical order. You can use your APA handbook, or you can use the Learn tab on Academic Writer if you need additional information about how to build a bibliography. You'll then write a reflection on the process of research and the methods that you used. How did it go? Was it challenging? Was it easy? Was it what you expected, etc.? Your third task for this module then asks you to choose 2 of the articles to fully read. Eventually you'll read them all. But for right now, you're reading 2, and you'll write a rhetorical analysis for each of the 2 that you choose. In order to do that, you'll need to be able to identify the author or author's purpose, audience, stance, genre, and media or design. You can also use the terms of traditional rhetoric that we learned: ethos, pathos, logos, kairos, context, conversation, etc. This practice of identifying the ways in which other authors navigate their rhetorical situations will be useful for giving you potential models to follow as you begin to determine your own rhetorical situation for your project.